To talk more about this with Congressman Adam Schiff. He's the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee. Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Carol.
The president is waging this mission based on a 2002 authorization. Is this a vote you want and think we need?
Absolutely, and it's really long overdue. We've been at war with ISIS for 6 months now, and Congress has yet to debate this, yet to take up an authorization. The White House has been relying on these old authorizations passed in 2001 and 2002, which really don't describe the conflict we're in now. So, yes, it's about time that we're having this debate.
You voted for the Iraq War in 2002. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Do you regret that vote?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, our intelligence was dead wrong on that, on Saddam's, at that time, we thought the weapons of mass destruction. And that has set in motion a cascading series of events which have had disastrous consequences. So yes, absolutely, I wish I had that to do all over again.
So I think the American people are thinking, will this be just like the Iraq War of 2002, a terrible mistake? How can you assure Americans that this, I don't even know what to call it, how will this be different?
Well, that's one of the reasons why I think it's so important that this authorization not be written so broadly that either this or a future president could use it to embark on another massive occupation of either Iraq or Syria. There are some that are arguing right now that we should have American boots on the ground doing combat in Syria, that we should be doing combat in Iraq instead of letting the Iraqis take up this fight. I think that would be a colossal mistake, and I think in many respects, as you pointed out, it would indicate we haven't learned the lessons from Iraq either, or Afghanistan for that matter. This is a fight ultimately that's fought along ideological fault lines, but is also a military fight, but not one where American ground forces ought to be carrying the laboring oar. And that's why I think that part of this proposal really has to be narrowed.
How narrow should it be?
Listen, I would like to see it narrowed so that American troops can be used to train for intelligence purposes, for search and rescue, for a downed pilot, for example. But I don't want to see this open the door to another massive occupation or have American troops relieve the burden of these Arab nations to fight their own fight. We should be there to support the Peshmerga, to support the Iraqi Special Forces, but we should not become either a substitute for these nations taking it on themselves or working in league with the Iran-backed Shia militias if they're going to turn this into a sectarian fight. That's not something that we want to be in the middle of.
Should the president also be allowed to send in these specialized troops beyond Iraq and beyond Syria to perhaps other places?
Well, that's a good question. I don't think that's something that we ought to authorize in this bill. The president isn't asking to do that now. And should the president decide, hey, we have to go into Libya because ISIS has grown there, or we have to go after Boko Haram because they're wreaking havoc in Africa, let him come back to Congress. This is not as if it is permanently set in stone and the president can't come back to Congress. So I think we ought to write an authorization that's narrowly tailored to give the president the power he needs now, and if he needs to come back, he can come back to Congress.
As you well know, Republicans and Democrats think very differently on this. Do you think that there will be a compromise and lawmakers will vote on something?
I think there will be a compromise, and I think there will be a bill. The question is, will it look more like what Senator McCain is urging, and that is effectively a carte blanche for the president and for the next president, or will it be something that's very narrowly tailored to do what the president says is the current mission, which many of us are going to be arguing for? Undoubtedly, it will be something in the middle, but the question is, will it look more like an open-ended invitation to the president to make war, or something that is very narrowly confined?
All right, Congressman Adam Schiff, thank you so much for being with me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Carol.